just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word.
Nicaragua, Nicorette, Newport. Hello again, it's Krangus, the rootinest, tootinest, most toilet splashing, splendiferous marine comedian on this side of the Gulf of America. Now, last week I broke apart Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War's speech to all the admirals and generals at Quantico. So I thought it was fitting to do the same thing for the President Trump part of that same speech. Now, based on the responses of what I got in the last video, I'd like to point out, some being death threats, by the way, I'd like to point out that I don't really subscribe to either the Democratic or the Republican Party. In fact, I think the control that both of those parties have over this country is the real enemy. I don't think it's Biden. I don't think it's Trump. I think it's the Democratic National Convention and the Republican National Convention. But throughout this series, what I'm going to be doing is reacting to things in society the way that a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps would react. Once again, my name is Krangus, and I served 6 years honorably in the Marine Corps between 2007 and 2013 with 2 combat deployments to Afghanistan, Helmand Province to be exact. So, let's get on with it.
You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want.
Anything I want?
But you just feel nice and loose. So
Nah, bro, I'm tight.
Tight, yeah!
we're very proud of our military. I rebuilt the military during my first term. I know Pete spoke about it. He gave a great speech, I thought. Great speech. I don't want him to get so good. I hate that. You know? No, I hate it. I almost fired him. I said, you can't, I don't want to go on after that.
Yeah, I know. It sucks when your feature is better than you. But all you got to do, look, ultimately, when you get good enough, you're going to get to a point where the openers you pick to go on the road with you, it's really just going to be based on if they have a driver's license and no warrants. I mean, ultimately, you just need to make sure that your opener is cool in the Motel 6 that you have to share. So you'll do, President, if you just keep sticking to the open mics and grinding it out, I swear you will be a better speak maker in no time.
Like what I called the Gulf of America, because to me it was always the Gulf of America. I could never understand. We have 92% of the frontage.
As somebody that lives on the Gulf of America, Mr. President, I can attest, I went down there and tested it out for you. Gulf of America. Way worse than I thought it was going to be. Oh, shit.
America.
Morris Barf. To be honest with you, though, I didn't know Trump's second term was going to be called Trump 2. I'm going to name things. But you can't deny that the man does have a penchant for language. Let's take a look.
Just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word.
Nicaragua, Nicorette, Newport.
There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them.
Dude, he wants to say it so bad.
And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else.
Wait, I'm actually confused now. What type of N-word do we have more of than anybody?
But I'm not allowed to say that anymore. I said tariff is my favorite word.
With a hard T.
And the fake news came over and they really hit me hard on it. They said, what about love? What about religion? What about God? What about wife, family?
What about that Epstein list?
It's, how would you like to have your thing signed by an auto pen? You know, when I have a general and I have to sign for a general because we have beautiful paper, the gorgeous paper, I said throw a little more gold on it. They deserve it. I want the A paper, not the D paper. We used to sign a piece of garbage. I said, this man's going to be a general, right? Yeah. I don't want to use this. I want to use the big, beautiful, firm paper.
Wonder what kind of paper was used in the Epstein files.
Dunder Mifflin.
But the firemen go up on ladders and you have people shooting at them while they're up on ladders. I don't even know if anybody heard that. And I said, don't talk about it much, but I think you have to. Our firemen are incredible. They're up on one of these ladders that goes way up to the sky, rescuing people, and you have animals shooting at them, shooting bullets at firemen that are way up in death territory. You fall off that ladder, it's over. It's over. They don't even have to inspect you.
Go, go, gadget Epstein list. All right, I'll stop bringing up the Epstein list. I know. He's making the list. He's checking it twice. And if I'm a good little boy, he'll me in the until more buttholes left.
Over the past 8 months, new enlistments, I'm so proud of this, have surged to record highs, the highest we've ever had.
Strip clubs and used car dealerships rejoice. Your time is now. Shout out to the Purple Church or the Driftwood. I can't wait to see the beautiful kids y'all make with them strippers. Driving off in your Dodge Charger with 28% APR. Hoorah, Marines. Also, I wonder what the tactics of recruiters are nowadays. My recruiter, I remember I walked in, I was an intel guy. I was a linguist and an intelligence analyst, so 0231 for all those people out there wanting to know my MOS. But I remember going in, and back in the day, this was like 07, the recruiter would have these little like packets, and he would lay them out on the table, and you would kind of see which like job you would navigate towards. So I see intel, it's like a little packet, intel, and he sees my eyes light up, and he looks at me, and I swear to God, he's like, yeah, bro, we're going to drop you off in the middle of Afghanistan with a beard. You're going to be slaying bodies out there, bro. You're going to be like Jason Bourne. Of course, 19-year-old me is like, pass me a Mountain Dew and sign me up. And then 2 years later, I was really good at Microsoft PowerPoint. Anyway, let's get back to you, admirals and generals.
For the first time on record in 2025, the Navy, Air Force, and Space Force.
I forgot about those guys.
And even Space Force, I love Space Force because that was my creation. You know, when you create something, I love it. And the people we put in there were good. I got that right. We put in great people initially, and we've really dominated. We really dominate in that sphere now.
Yo, do we own space now? The United States of space? Wait, is that what Greenland? Is that what you're calling Greenland? Hold on now.
And the Army did even better. Congratulations, Army.
Yay.
And for the Marines, morale is so strong that the Marine Corps will meet its 2026 retention targets before the end of October.
I don't know anything about retention rates, but I'm going to tell you something about Marines and morale. If Marines ain't bitching, something's really wrong.
We're making it larger. So these were much higher standards than you had 4 years ago, 3 years ago, during the Sleepy Joe Biden era.
I'm not going to lie. I wonder often, because I got out in 2013, really before this woke parade that we talk about started happening. But I have to wonder, because he's talking about the Sleepy Joe Biden years. That was like also COVID times. And I can't imagine how awful the military would have been having to be like stuck in the barracks constantly, like how garrison that would have been. Oh my Jesus Christ, that's got to be awful. Anyway, let's talk about war.
And you know, we want war because we want to have no wars, but you have to be there, and you know, sometimes you have to do it.
What?
War is very strange, you know, you never know what's going to happen with war.
Well, I'm glad to see the president's been reading Sun Tzu.
The easiest one of them all is Putin. I said, number one, it's a war that would have never happened if I were president, if the election weren't rigged. And if I were president, that war would have never happened, not even a little chance. And it didn't happen for 4 years. But I knew Putin very well.
Because you're his source.
We had the horror show in Afghanistan, which is really the reason I think that Putin went in. He saw that horror show by Biden and his team of incompetent people. And that showed, I think it gave him a path in. I wasn't there any longer. I watched that, and it was so horrible. I think it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
I'd say the most embarrassing was the time that George Bush Sr. puked on that Japanese guy. But didn't you signed the accords to pull out of Afghanistan?
India and Pakistan were going at it, and I called them both. And in this case, I used trade. I'm not going to trade with you. You start two nuclear nations, big nuclear. And no, you cannot do that. I said, yes, I can.
It sounds like Trump called T-Mobile to pay his bill and got put on hold with customer support. Also, that accent has to be an EO violation.
Even in Africa, we saved the Congo with Rwanda. They've been fighting for 31 years, 10 million people dead. I got that one done.
Get her done. Yeah, by the way, Rwanda's back at war. Anyway, throughout this whole speech, President Trump talks often about the different wars that he stopped, the different countries he saved, millions of lives saved. So I wonder, like, what was it? What was the stopping point? What was the nitty gritty way, the method in which he was able to get these people to come to terms with each other?
And they started off spread like this. I have the beautiful Resolute desk. And one was here, and one was here. You couldn't get further away. That's the furthest I've ever seen two people in front of me. And as the hour went by, they got closer, closer, closer. And at the end of the hour, we had it done. And they hugged and hugged and hugged. And I said, that's so nice, and you're going to remain friends. And I spoke to them, one of them the other day. He said, no, he's now my friend.
Now kiss.
Will you get the Nobel Prize? Absolutely not. They'll give it to some guy that didn't do a damn thing. They'll give it to a guy that wrote a book about the mind of Donald Trump.
Why don't you write that book? See? Then they'll give you the Nobel Prize because you wrote that book. Come on, you got to think smarter. Anyway, how are we going to pay for all this?
The other day, they had $31 billion that they found, $31 billion. So we found $31 billion, and we're not sure from where it came.
What happens in the White House where people just be finding $31 billion laying around? Anyway, let's talk about movies in this presidential speech.
I used to watch Victory at Sea. I love Victory at Sea. Look at these admirals. It's got to be your all-time in black and white. And I look at those ships. They came with the destroyers alongside of them, and man, nothing was going to stop. They were 20 deep, and they were in a straight line, and there was nothing going to stop them.
Yo, that new autism dropped.
And we actually talk about, those ships. Some people would say, no, that's old technology. I don't know. I don't think it's old technology when you look at those guns.
Didn't you just say that these ships were made when movies were made in black and white? Come on, that's old. Now, where are these battleships going to go, Mr. President?
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military.
Yes, this is very serious. Just to name a few of the places, states, cities, regions that he has talked about deploying troops to, we have Chicago, we have the state of Utah in light of the Charlie Kirk assassination. We have New Orleans. It's a southern city, but it's pretty liberal. And then we have Memphis, Tennessee. These are all four regions that he has talked about deploying National Guard's troops to. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, because Trump continuously talks about this potential enemy in Antifa. And let me tell you a personal experience I have with Antifa. Back when I lived in Phoenix, I went out to this party one night, and I remember it was just a friend of a friend thing. And I'm there, and the first thing that I noticed when I walked in was it stunk like hell, and it was a bunch of crust punk, damn near homeless people. And these were people that were calling themselves Antifa, all high as shit on meth. I ended up leaving because I didn't like the situation that I was in, but these were people that were claiming to be Antifa. And the problem with this rhetoric that Trump continuously puts out, Antifa isn't some centralized thing. And if those are the people that we're like going to war against, I mean, we're talking about a bunch of junkies all across America. And the thing that scares me is if you're able to take something decentralized like that, which is really just a bunch of people with a similar ideology, and claim them as enemy number one, what is to stop him from claiming that just Democrats are enemy number one? That's scary to me, because to everybody on the right, imagine if the tables are switched and these kind of powers are used against you.